Hey, what is up, everybody? Thanks for joining me. Today we are in Plymouth, Massachusetts, as we continue to tell the story of the Pilgrims as they come to the new land. If you haven't seen part one, I suggest you check that out first. Before we check out the museum, let's try to understand why the Pilgrims picked the location that they did. In the words of the second governor of the colony, William Bradford,
After exploring the harbour and the land about it, we found a place that pleased us well. It had a good brook of fresh water flowing down from the hills to the sea.
up there, rising beyond the park, is Leyden Street, the place where the colony truly began. Let's make our way over there. Here it is, Leyden Street, our first street, or as they referenced it in the book, the street. To quote the book Mort's Relation, published in 1622, Monday on the 4th of January, we began to erect the first building for our common storehouse. Check out this historical photo I found online. I'm not sure when it's dated, but not much has changed. Let's make our way to the top, where the meeting house and the fort would have been. Here's another historical photo I found online, and again, not much has changed. Let's follow Leyden Street back down to the harbor. It's easy to picture how the town ran from the fort above all the way down to the waterfront. From there, we'll head back to the museum. As for the reason why they chose the location for the fort, I'll let Governor Bradford explain.
It commandeth the bay, and can from thence discharge a shot upon any ship lying in the harbour.
Let's go see if we can validate those claims by looking at the original location of the fort. The rock is here in case you don't believe the sign. So here is where the cannons would have been originally placed in the view they would have had. If you're thinking, well, we can't see the bay from here, I got you. Let's pause it right here for a second. Earlier, we were right over here on Leyden Street, and before that, we were down here behind these trees at Town Brook. Let's head back to the fort. Let's go down into the village and see what we can find. As we walk down the street, as the settlers would have called it, let's remember back to what we saw this morning on Leyden Street. Along this humble street, the English struggled through their first few harsh months. But soon, voices not their own would alter the colony's fate, as Bradford tells it.
In the early days of March, when our numbers were still weakened by the winter, a lone Indian walked boldly into the settlement. His name was Samoset. He spoke a few words of English, enough to greet us and ask for food and drink. The next day he returned, and with him came another native, one far more familiar with the English tongue. This was Tisquantum, whom we soon called Squanto. He had lived among the English before, having been taken from these shores years earlier, carried across the sea, and later returned to his homeland. From the moment he came among us, Squanto proved himself a remarkable instrument for our good.
Let's take a moment to see what the Native Americans were living like at this time.
Football field and like you're also seeing basically as long as this home is here, that's how wide you should be seeing the average. So around 30 to 40 feet in width, just to be fitting that entire extended family, 60, 70 people on average, maximum of 100, minimum of 50, and having around 6 or 7 generations living within that house together.
Through Samoset and Squanto, the settlers were soon brought into the presence of Massasoit, the great sachem of the Poconoke people, as Governor Bradford details in his book.
We made a peace with Massasoit on the 22nd of March, agreeing that no wrong should pass between us, and that in all injuries and dangers we should help one another.
Let's head back to the English village. But you survived the first winter, which is incredible.
Yeah, and the Lord does send trials, and I've heard us compared to Gideon's army, much that we've been huffed and huffed again. So there's no doubt in my mind that our victory is that of the Lord's. So, yeah, it's been hard, but I know that the Lord does send his hardest trials to the ones he loves most.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
When is the Harvest Festival?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
Yay. That is when it will start, at least. I'm not certain how long the feast will last.
Do you know what will be served for food?
Oh, I expect a goodly deal of fowl. The governor has sent a couple of men out on fowling this morning, hunting for birds. And they've already come back with enough fowl as can feed all of us for probably a week. At least the 50 of us, though. I have heard that the King Massasoit is coming. And being that he is a king, he always travels with a retinue, a train of people. So I don't know how many days it will feed however many of us there end up being. Of course, the maize, that is what we are celebrating, the harvest of that. And with that, beans and pompion. Now, you know pompion, yeah?
Yeah.
Sometimes pompions are big, and they're round, and they're orange, with a brown stem.
Did you grow some barley so you could brew some beer?
Grew a little bit of barley, and it did not come up quite as good as I think most of us would have liked, but it came up better than the peas, certainly. It came up sort of indifferent good, whereas, well, the peas were not even worth gathering them in. Oh, wow, Mary! Keep going, keep going! Well done, Mary! But what else will we have? I will have diverse things. Perhaps the natives will bring something or hunt for something once they arrive.
It's a cornmeal dough with cranberries, walnuts, maple syrup, and pumpkin. And then over the fire, we also have some more pumpkin in our soup with some dried summer squash, dried wild mushrooms, hominy corn, beans, oats. But something smaller like quails or small shellfish could be added.
In a letter dated December 1621, Edward Winslow, who attended the first Harvest Festival, wrote this. They went out and killed 5 deer, which they brought back to the plantation and bestowed upon our governor.
Many of the Indians came amongst them, and among the rest their great king Massasoit, with some 90 men, whom for 3 days they entertained and feasted.
Their Harvest Festival was full of life and activity. Today, these empty fields and quiet hearts feel like an echo of the distant world. This memorial honors John Howland, the passenger who fell overboard during the Atlantic crossing and survived. We mentioned this on the first episode. He went on to become one of the colony's leading figures. He married the prettiest woman in the colony, Elizabeth Tilley, and then went on to father 10 children who all lived long lives. Among his many descendants are several U.S. presidents, including FDR, George H.W. Bush, and George W. Bush, as well as philosopher Ralph Waldo Emerson, who we've spoken about on this channel before. As we head to our next grave marker, check out this historical drawing I found. Note the two buildings in the distance. They are both still visible today. Also note this grave marker. It's our destination. Here rests William Bradford, whose voice has walked beside us through most of this story. For more than 30 years, he led the colony, and in his book, Of Plymouth Plantation, he recorded its struggles, its hopes, and its first steps into our history. Thanks for being a great co-host. Burial Hill is not the only place here in Plymouth that you will find the resting place of some of the original settlers. Here on Coles Hill, this sarcophagus holds what is left of the first settlers, gathered with care after storms exposed the bones of those buried from the colony's earliest days. These names mark the men, women, and children who risked everything to cross the ocean and build a new life in a new land. They never lived to see that first harvest festival. This is the memorial to Massasoit, whose meeting with the settlers changed the fate of Plymouth. The great sachem whose alliance with the settlers became one of the most important chapters in Plymouth's early history. Without this alliance, it's unclear if the settlers would have even survived another year in the new land. The National Day of Mourning plaque acknowledges the deep suffering experienced by the indigenous people of the region. It's a reminder that Plymouth's story is shared, and not all of it is celebratory. The National Monument to the Forefathers was completed in 1889. It's a tribute to the ideas that the Pilgrims hoped would guide the new colony. Around its base are four allegorical figures: law, education, morality, and liberty. Rising above all the virtues carved below is faith. her arm raised, her finger pointing towards the old world. She represents the conviction that carried the Pilgrims across the Atlantic in their journey to a new life. Thanks for joining me, and see you next time.